right. I'm finishing up the last few, so we're all good to go. You guys can open it up for questions.
Hey, Matt, I didn't see Dennis or Eli Apple at practice, and I was just wondering if you had any updates on either of them.
Dennis. Dennis is. I really don't know how long to say for Dennis. I don't know if it's day to day or even longer. Has a sprained ankle, and Eli's still battling the hamstring in the foot. So both of those guys are out right now.
Matt, hi, Miles Simmons. Just wondering what your initial impressions of the 53-man roster are now that you've been able to get through cuts.
They're all guys who've worked hard. There's a real emphasis on special teams players. You can't just give lip service to special teams. You have to put players out there that are going to run and cover and do good things on special teams. We're certainly a young football team with some great veteran leaders, and I'm pleased with the way it went.
Hey, Matt, when we talked to you around the time of the draft, you were pretty high on F.A. Obata. Obviously, you hadn't seen him on the field at that point. Wondering kind of what changed between April and now.
I love F.A. He's a tremendous person and player. Just hard decisions have to be made, unfortunately, and that was one that was particularly hard that we had to make.
Matt, on that note, on a similar note, can you talk about Kenny Robinson, rookie Kenny Robinson,
I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time talking about why we, just respectfully for those guys. I don't want to sit there and say we waived this guy because of this or that. Kenny's, and if I cut you off there, I'm sorry. I hope you can understand. It's hard. This is a hard setup for me to see everything, but Kenny's. I think Kenny's got a really good future ahead of him. He just was in a tough spot, and we had to make that decision again. Those two, really those three that happened yesterday. I mean, no one wants that for guys to have made it and then go a day and then have to have those conversations with them. But we claimed guys that we thought we needed to claim that would help us, and had to make tough decisions.
Hey, Matt, it's Chris Jenkins. What can you share with us today about your observations for practice as you guys are getting ready for the Raiders in this week one, your first time going into a week one preparation?
Well, today's nice because it's got, obviously a bonus day, not having played yesterday, but I thought we had a lot of energy. I thought guys really moved around and were excited to be out there, and we got good work done. So, guys came in this morning, were attentive in meetings, excited to get started. And so for me, really pleased. And, with the new rules of, 16 practice squad players, it doesn't feel much different than it did last week in terms of practice and the amount of guys that are out there.
Is there anything you're looking to see most from the guys this week, Matt, as you get ready for week one that you're eager to see come together?
I think the biggest thing is greatness happens outside the building, when you get to game week. I mean, there's a certain schedule that we have. Everyone pretty much has the same schedule. If we want to be a great team, if guys want to be great on their units, if we want to be great players, great coaches, a lot of that greatness happens on our own time. And so I'm looking forward to seeing guys that are out preparing, the coaches, being experts at what they know. We just got done with practice, and we won't see them again until 8:30 on Wednesday. And what are you going to do in that time to get yourself more mentally or physically ready? And so I want to see guys really grind this week. I mean, that's who we want to be. We want to be a tough, hardworking team that prepares at a high level, because confidence really comes from preparation. And, for us playing a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys, they can't really act like rookies. They've got to go play like veterans, and that only comes from preparation and from practice. So I like what I saw at practice, but really that, great's going to happen on their own time. Great's going to happen outside this building.
Hey, Matt, this is David Newton. Wanted to ask you, I know with you guys getting ready for the Raiders, is information very easily to get on the opposing team? And what have you been able to gather so far about what you can expect from them?
I think all of us without preseason games are in a unique position. Obviously you can look back and see, what they did last year and the remaining players, and then players that came from other places, you can evaluate. But there are certainly some unknowns. I think, unknowns, people probably have a lot of unknowns about us, and there's certainly probably a lot of unknowns from them. So, we'll work off the tape. Our pro personnel department has done a great job with the advanced scouting and trying to do the best we can. And so my main message to our team was like, hey, let's make this all about us. We're going to prepare for them, but we can really control us. We can control our effort, our preparation, do the best we can to make sure that we play our best game, and then prepare as well as we can for them. But understanding that in game one, crazy things happen. It could be a completely different defense, a completely different offense. And it's at that time you have to kind of trust in your system, go back, make adjustments on the sideline and go out and play. And so I'm sure that our guys will attack whatever wrinkles are thrown at them. It's a great coaching staff we're going against, a lot of veteran players. So for us, it'll really be about, us doing the best that we can to make sure that we're prepared and we play our best game.
Hey, Matt, it's Josh from the Riot Report. I have kind of a technical question for you. I know that there are 4 guys on the practice squad that you can protect each week. What goes into that decision for you? And is that something that you plan to change on a weekly basis, or is that kind of the same 4 guys, do you think?
I think that would be probably different every week. It could be the same, but obviously you have to look at it week to week. And, you can't really protect them until Tuesday at 4:00. So that really exposes a lot of time. So how important is it? It's probably just important later in the week. So I think once you kind of sit there and say, okay, here's our game plan. Here's who we think we'll need. Here are the guys that could be up for us. As you look at different situations with depth, then I think maybe make that decision then. But it's not it's not truly protected in that from the end of the game on Sunday till Tuesday. You can make those. Someone could come in and take a guy, or we could go in and take a guy. So. I think we'll take it week by week, look at our depth, look at our issues, look at our game plan, see how we're going to play each week, and try to make the proper decision.
Hey, Matt, speaking to that week 1 preparation, how can you use the advantage that you have, which is that nobody has seen your offense, your defense, and kind of how you're going to run things on a game day?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to respectfully not answer a lot of questions about who we are schematically, just because that is an advantage that we have. I don't think it's a huge advantage. I think it's a small one. I think once the ball is kicked off, there's only so many ways to play offense and play defense. And I really do believe it's not just coach league. I believe the game comes down to blocking and tackling and protecting the ball and all those things. But it is an advantage. And so I think for us, as you look at what Joe's done with this offense, taking what he learned in New Orleans and Penn State and taking it to LSU in one format, and then evolving it to our personnel here. So no one's really seen, this offense. No one's really seen unless you're at our practices. So the same thing for Phil. We were a 4-down team, then we were a 3-down team, and then coming back here and looking at the people we have and, kind of going back down to a 4-down look here. But I think we're doing a lot of different things. And so, that plus our special teams, we want to try to keep a lid on it as best we can. But once the game starts, again, the team that plays the best usually wins. And so we'll try to concentrate on us, try to play our best game, but knowing that no preseason games, people don't have a great feel for what we look like.
Matt, with that in mind, this may be not one you don't want to answer, but can you give us any clarity on the backup quarterback?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Joe and Jake will make that decision, and I think really the thing that Joe said to me is I think that's going to kind of like a lot of other positions. I think we're going to just kind of take that week to week and see who practices best each week, and make that decision, because you don't have to make that decision now till really late in the week. So I think we'll let them both practice, and we're excited. They both bring different things to the table. The nice thing is we're truly clear that, Teddy's our starter, but, we'll make that decision probably right up until, whenever we have to put in our inactive. So, but I think we're going to take that approach. Like, hey, let them both compete it out each week, see who practices the best, and let that guy go. And then eventually, at some point, someone will have to play, and they'll get some game reps, and it'll really, crystallize itself.
Hey, Matt, Jason Huber with WFNZ. Do you guys plan on, or when do you, if you know yet, when to plan to fill in on the rest of the practice squad? And if not, or do you know you have any guys in mind right now? Is that just something that you're working on?
No, we have a couple things in the works, and so I think there'll be a lot more clarity on the roster probably tonight.
Matt, you might not want to answer this one either, but how comfortable do you feel about Ian Thomas being available to you on Sunday?
No, I mean, he was out there today. He looked like he could go. So I felt good about him. I mean, I know they originally said that they thought maybe later in the week that they wanted to practice him, but just moving around, he looks good. So I'm expecting Ian to go and be able to play. And if he can, he can. Chris will carry the brunt of the load. We can use an extra offensive lineman. Colin Thompson's had a good camp. Richie's had a good camp. So we have some guys there. But it looks to me like Ian will be ready to go.
Matt, Scott Fowler, what kind of camp has Robbie Anderson had, and what do you expect from him this season?
I think Robbie's had a fantastic camp. I knew him 4 or 5 years ago, and seeing the level of professionalism and maturity that he brings to everything that he does is really, really exciting for me. Takes great care of his body, which allows him to play fast. So I think he's a guy that's gonna have a really good year for us. And I think the receiver position is probably one of our positions of strength. I think he's going to have an explosive factor in what he does. So I expect him to have a great year helping us win. Stats are great. I know guys have goals about stats, but really, we want them to have a purpose in mind of, hey, I want to be the absolute best at what I do. And I think we've all seen Robbie this camp. He's someone that comes in every day with a plan, really deliberate in the way that he practices, really respectful of the process, and really kind of playing at a high level right now.
Hey, Coach, you spoke about greatness taking place outside the building. I was wondering if you could give us an insight of what you think your week of preparation may look like. You think you're going to be living there from sun up to sundown, or is it going to be pretty much a normal week for you as you prepare?
For the coaches?
For yourself, personally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're so far ahead just because we've done all this work all summer long, and really last week into this week, I gave the coaches Sunday off, and I walk into Joe's office at 1:00 and he's in there, Phil's in there. I mean, they're so far ahead that I don't think it's one of those deals where we're going to have to do that. That's kind of how I like coaching. I think that's more in the coming weeks as you come in, have to debrief the game from before, but we'll grind hard at it, work hard at it. What I want from our coaching staff is a group that's always seeking to find edges, seeking to find a competitive edge, and so we'll have a good plan for that. But I think a lot of the work's been done. We'll continue to grind through the next couple of days, and then late in the week, we'll trust the players. I truly believe the players win games, and so we want to have a great plan for them. But late in the week, we want to put it in their hands and let them go play.
Matt, what are some of your initial impressions of just the Raiders personnel, especially on offense, guys like Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and the like?
Well, I mean, they're an extremely talented team. Derek's an outstanding quarterback. They're big, powerful, physical offensive line. Good backs, good run game. I mean, they're gonna try to physically, impose their will upon teams. Waller's a special player. I mean, he's a matchup issue. So, I mean, really, there's a lot of things that they do that can give you trouble. But at the end of the day, if you don't find a way to stop the run, Coach Gruden and Coach Olson, I mean, they'll keep going back to it and try to try to beat you up. And so, that was not a strength of ours last year. So we've worked hard at improving our run defense, and to me that requires technique and talent and all those things. But most importantly, man, it requires effort and toughness. And so this is a good opportunity for us to go out there and show how far we've come in terms of defending the run.
Matt, without the preseason games and looking at other teams' rosters as much, how big of a factor was it to have Pat Stewart's kind of inside info on the couple of Eagles?
Yeah, Pat obviously had eyes on those guys. Sharif's a guy that a couple of our staff coached at Penn State. So, there was some awareness. I mean, I remember recruiting Sharif going all the way back to George Washington High School. Pat Meyer coached Trent Scott at the Chargers. So, I think you looked around the league, I think there was only 17, waiver claims. So that just goes to show you, people are very nervous to claim somebody and, make a move when they haven't seen them. But I think for us, having some outreach and some history with some of these guys made it easier for us. To me, that's a real credit to Marty, that he listens to the people that are around him, and as he builds a roster, he's trying to seek every edge, and that's who I want us to be. We want to be a team that is never complacent, is always trying to find a way to get better, and we'll bring those three guys in, and excited to see what they bring.
We have time for one or two more questions, guys.
Matt, I was wondering, what's your relationship like with Coach Gruden? I know you guys know each other. What's your previous experiences with him like?
He's a guy that in my previous life I would have considered, a sort of a mentor from afar. I got to know him. We hit it off. Even a couple of years ago when I had another NFL opportunity, I was trying to figure out what to do. He's one of the first people I called. I haven't talked to him very much since taking this job, just because I think we've all, it's been a unique set of circumstances. Mike Mayock is another guy that I've known for a long time. My first year as the head coach at Temple, he came in and talked to my team about the draft process. So there's a lot of people there that I respect, but I really respect John Gruden. And, here he is, Super Bowl winning coach, Monday Night Football at the time, and he's got the head coach, at Temple, and he's pouring into and spending time with, and so I'm very grateful to him. And so I think it'll be an honor to take the field with someone that's done everything that he's done, and I'm excited to get on the field.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Media, we can hang on this line. I'm going to put you guys in the waiting room. am. So we will open it up to questions now.
Hey, Brandon. Josh from the Riot Report. Just curious what your weekend was like as you kind of waited to hear what the ultimate decision was on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, spent the morning, a lot of the morning here, just kind of getting the treatment, recovery, just, kind of a typical morning. And then for the rest of the day, I just kind of wanted to get my mind off things. I'm from Minnesota, land at 10,000 lakes. So I was fortunate enough to actually get on Lake Norman, and that was actually my first time on a boat out here. So I was pretty excited about that. I spent most of the day with Will Greer at his uncle's cabin. But I was just trying to get my mind off things and just really relax. And, it was a long, hard camp. So it was finally good just to have a day to just really kind of kick my feet up for real.
Brandon, it's Joe. Person, it sounds like if you were out on a lake, you weren't sweating the roster decision too much. Were you pretty confident with how you played, et cetera, over the last 3 to 4?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had highs and lows at camp. I just kept telling myself, like my mindset kind of going into it was just, make one play a day. Even if I made, a nice play early in the day in camp, I told myself, that wasn't good enough. Just make one more play to really stand out. And so that's just kind of like the fight I took into practice every day. I know I did stack up a few days. I probably had a few days that were a little lackadaisical, just kind of flatlining. And I tried to make a push towards the end again. Overall, I thought I had a pretty solid camp. I know I did improve on a lot of the things I was trying to improve on, that being special teams and my run blocking. As far as route running and stuff too, but I just know that I had some holes in my game as far as the run blocking, being more physical, being more square up with guys. And then, special teams is such a crucial role, especially for me, in the receiver room. So I really want to make a push with those. So I did feel, fairly confident. My confidence definitely grew with every practice. When it came to Saturday, I'm not going to say I was, completely set free. I had, some people telling me that I was good. Some people telling me I was on the bubble. So I really just kind of took it hour by hour. I didn't actually go out onto the lake until I found out I was good, though. I was staying fairly close to the facility just in case.
Brandon, do you get a sense, I guess there's 6 wideouts now on the active. Do you get a sense, like in this Joe Brady offense, how many of you guys will be in the rotation?
That's something, we don't know too much about that yet. We know Curtis, DJ, and Robbie are going to be heavily involved. As far as us other guys, I know that, a big role for us is special teams. And so you just kind of knowing that going in, I'm putting a big emphasis on special teams because I want to be the guy that's dependable this year. I want to be trusted by, all my teammates as well as my coaches, just to kind of be thrown anywhere and know what I'm doing and be able to execute my job at a high level.
Brandon, Elena Getzenberg with the Charlotte Observer. I'm curious, Matt Rule just told us that he thinks wide receiver is one of the strongest groups on this roster. How would you describe the group you have and, what's it like being around some of the new guys?
Yeah, I definitely think that we have an extremely talented group. It's one of the more talented receiver groups I've been a part of. It's definitely the fastest one. I don't consider myself a big speed guy, but, in our room, there's so many guys with so many different, really tools, but speed tends to be kind of the outlying factor for all of us. But like I said, it's a super talented room. You got speed. You got a bunch of guys who are super good at running routes, guys that are not afraid to sell their body in the run game. And I think we all work super well together. We're all sitting there coaching up each other. Coach Frisk does a great job of, kind of having an open forum in meetings, just so we can all hear each other, maybe what's what Robbie saw versus what DJ saw in a certain coverage. So I think we're all just really learning off of each other and just trying to use each other, the best. Having, really selling out for the guy next to you. If I have to take the top off the defense, I'm going to run as fast as I can straight to try to pull the coverage off of him. I think our group does a great job of that, of really just selling out for the guy next to you.
Hey, Brandon. Jonathan Alexander, Charlotte Observer. Hope you're doing well. I'm curious, what are your impressions of Teddy Bridgewater, or how would you best describe Teddy Bridgewater? And I guess when did you first realize like he was, the right person to lead the quarterbacks? And he lead the team.
I think he's done a great job. I don't really know him. I've introduced myself previously last year when we played them in the Saints because I'm a Minnesota guy. So when he was in Minnesota, Minnesota absolutely loved him, and so he's always kind of had a good rap. And to see him go through the injury and whatnot, and kind of bounce around teams, and then have his success again last year. I just wanted to go and kind of introduce myself. So I finally introduced myself last year, and then just kind of watching him this year. It's the first time I've really got to judge him as a person, I guess. I really get to meet him as a person. He's done a great job of leading this team. He stepped up right away, knowing that, he's going to be looked upon as a leader. I think he's done a great job with that. He's just very composed, very hardworking. He comes in and does what he's supposed to do. Oftentimes you see him doing extra stuff in the training room. He's one of the last people out of the building every day. Like, I think it just kind of speaks to, who he is as a person, as well as the role he knows he's kind of getting into. He's kind of taking in all that and really running with it. So what was the other question? I know it's just kind of.
Well, I mean, you basically answered. I was asking you to describe him best, and when did you realize he was like the right person for the Panthers to lead the Panthers?
No, I think that's kind of from square one. I know he has a lot of connections with some of the coaches and stuff, so they knew exactly what they were getting. Like, there was definitely no mistaking in picking him. They knew what he was going to bring, who he is as a person, and how he's going to lead this team to some wins. And I mean, as far as I've seen, he's done that every day since he's been here. So I think it's no question that he's the right fit for this offense, right fit for this team.
As we have time for one more question before we have to let Brandon go.
I'll take that if I may. Brandon, this is Miles Simmons from Panthers.com. Just how excited are you to really dive into a game plan and get to, go out and play a different team this week in the Raiders?
I'm super excited. This camp was obviously a lot different from other camps. Other camps kind of seemed like it was like training camp almost seemed like it was broken into different things because, you actually had preseason games to kind of take the monotony out of your training camp. So this year, going against the same color jersey every time, I think we did a super good job of not getting on each other. I've seen that, been a part of that in other camps where, there's a lot of fighting breaking out and whatnot. So you're going up against the same guy every day. You're seeing the same moves. You're getting hit by in the throat at the same time every day. And so that starts to kind of wear on guys. But this camp is just, it's been different. Everybody's really starting to take care of each other from day one, it's probably one of the most competitive, most physical camps I've been a part of. But to finally go up against a new team, I think is going to be super exciting. I think from all the preparation we've done and stuff that we're going to be able to come out fast, come out flying, and we're definitely going to be the more physical team out there. Just from everything we've kind of been instilled by our coaches, how everybody's really bought into the system. Everybody's like truly playing for one another. I think we got a good shot to go make some noise this year.
All right, Brandon, we appreciate you taking the time.
All right, thanks, Preston.
All right, I'm gonna put you guys
Josh from the Riot Report. Right off the bat, obviously we saw you playing both sides of the ball this training camp. Was that something you expected to do coming in? Was that something the coaching staff had talked to you beforehand, or was it just kind of a, hey, I can play both sides?
It's actually a unique story. I got picked up as a DB, played all the DB in college. But in high school, I was a running back, and Coach Rule, when he was at Temple, actually recruited me at running back. So one day at practice, knowing this whole COVID situation, you never know what might come up during the season. So, he was like, let's see if you can still do some drills, and went out there. I'm an athlete, so just cutting and doing all the different things, just getting used to it again was, pretty simple. But yeah, so as soon as I did that, he gave me a few days at running back, and, I'm just here to do whatever I can to best suit the team, get us on the winning track.
Miles Miles Simmons from Panthers.com. Great first name, by the way. Have you had any indication as to whether you're going to just be sticking at DB, or could you see some snaps at running back? What's going on?
Man, I have no idea. I'm just going, taking one day at a time. Whatever coach puts me at, I know he has my best interests. He's not going to put me in harm's way or make me look crazy out there. But I know whatever he puts me at, I'll just do it to the best of my ability.
Miles, to that point, it seemed like a little later on in camp, you might have been more a defensive back. Was that your read on it too? And do you think that's your best position at this point?
I'm open to play anything. Like I said, towards the end of camp, I did start playing more DB, start getting some more reps. But you just got to be ready for anything. So if they call me over there, I'll just go in and dive right into the playbook again and do the best of my ability.
Miles, from an equipment standpoint, what's the difference between defensive back and running back, and like different cleats, different help, different face mask?
I would say the biggest difference is when I know I'm going to play running back at practice, I don't like to wear long sleeves. So at DB, I'll wear long sleeves because I like to have the ball against my skin. So I know if I'm going to get reps at running back, if beforehand, I'll try not to wear a long sleeve. That's probably the biggest difference.
Hey, Josh again. What was your Saturday like? Obviously, cut day it can be a stressful day. What were you doing? How were you trying to distract yourself? Take us through that day.
Saturday was a stressful day. Couldn't really sleep. Woke up on an off day at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't really do nothing. Went, got breakfast, just sitting around next to my phone. Every call, I'm like, my heart is like jumping out of my chest, out of my skin. I stopped like answering people's text messages. Everybody's asking me. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just waiting to hear something. Really just what I did was watched a lot of Disney Plus, went back to my childhood days to try to like ease my anxiety and ease the what happens. So really just watched a lot of Disney Plus and played the video game all day.
A follow-up to that, any favorites on Disney Plus? Something that was
Yeah. My favorite top three I watched was probably Mulan. I'm getting ready for that Mulan, the real one to come out. It's streaming on Disney Plus. Mulan, Hercules, and I would say Aladdin. So I watched the real version and then I watched the cartoon version. So, Disney Plus got it all.
Mulan was legit. Yeah. Jonathan Alexander, Charlotte Observer. Are there any movies that Disney Plus needs to add?
I don't even know if it's Disney, but Oliver and Company. That's probably one of my favorite. Seeing the dog singing. I like to see like different things. So I love the singing ones. Any singing movie they got, they might as well put it on there.
When was the last time you played running back before you just started doing it in practice?
Last time I played was my junior year of high school.
Hey, Miles, you just spent a month or so in some meetings with Christian McCaffrey. What was your take on being around that guy? What did you learn about him and on and off the field?
So first day when they put me in running back in the meetings, I'm like, dang, I told my friend, I was like, well, I'm about to be in the same meeting room. I was a little fanboy at first, I'm about to be in the same room as Christian McCaffrey, same dude I was trading for on Madden last year. So, it's just a blessing to be behind someone who has knowledge of the game and seeing his work ethic and seeing how he take care of his body and just taking the little points that he says in meetings and seeing how he practices and how he comes off the field, even though he knows off, he's still asking coach, what do I have on this play? Was that the right depth? Was that the right read? And just asking those simple questions to make sure it's going over in his mind and he's seeing the same thing the coach is seeing. So just taking those little things and also bringing it to the DB room, bringing that same work ethic, that can only help me.
Miles, I was wondering, do you remember getting recruited by Coach Rule? And if so, what memories did you have of that?
Yeah, I think Temple was my second offer with Coach Rule. Probably my freshman, sophomore year. So, I remember going up to Philly. I'm only an hour away from Philly, being from Jersey. And at first they wanted me for DB because, I went as an athlete. That's what every school was treating me as. We'll pick a side when you get here. But then towards my junior year, I had like 34 touchdowns at running back. And then every school wanted to put me at running back. So then I started going up there like every other week on unofficial visits. Then I went to prep school, going up there with a couple of my teammates. So it's me. I've known Coach Rule for a while. My parents know Coach Rule, Coach Foley, Coach Coop. So I've known a lot of people on this staff for a long, long time.
And Miles, I'm curious from a player's perspective, how different was today's practice, been to the week of, different from previous practices that you've been to, and the vibe was like everything?
I like how practice went. Still had the same attention to detail. Everybody's still trying to fly around, get ready for the upcoming Sunday. And, everybody's just really dialed into the little things, running to the ball, making the right checks, being vocal, communicating, making sure everybody's on one accord. So practice went well, I feel like.
Miles, there were a couple of practices where you were playing both defense and then offense, sometimes I believe even on the same drive. Like, how were you able to do that mentally?
Really help from everybody around. I come into the defensive huddle, which I knew more because we did most of the offseason on defense. So that was pretty easy. It was just when I would go over to offense, the offensive teammates, like they kind of helped me, like in the huddle. All right, you line up on this side. They would just tell me what footwork I had. I knew if it was 9 or 2, which side to go, but they would help me out. So I appreciate everybody on the offense for helping me along the way, and just with open arms. Nobody really like turned their back on me. Even if I didn't know it, somebody would help me out and let me know. All right, you do this on this play. So it really was smooth sailing, knowing both sides.
All right, guys, we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, if there are any left. All right, I think that'll do it. Miles, we appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate y'all.
so I'll open it up to questions now. Not all at once.
Stanley, hey, it's Joe Person with The Athletic. I don't think we've talked to you probably since draft night. So good to see you again. And wonder if you would kind of assess your first NFL camp, where you think you played well and what areas you're kind of still trying to polish up.
First going in is just pretty much just learning. I'm adjusting. I've been watching the older guys, the older vets, DJ, Trevo. They've been pretty much carrying me along, great leaders, and just being pretty much going under their wing, just learning under them, learning the defense.
Stan, Elena Getzmer with the Charlotte Observer. Good to see you. I was wondering for you, how did you spend your Saturday? Were you like nervous, or like what did you do to occupy your time?
A little nervous. I was talking to my mom pretty much the whole day. I got the new 2K game. Try to spend a little time playing video games. Just, sitting back at home, relaxing.
Hey, Stan, Josh from the Riot Report. How important was special teams for you this training camp? And, how did you know that was going to be something that might set you apart from other guys while practicing?
I pretty much knew coming in special teams is a big role for any team. I kind of learned that in college, how big special teams was and how important that is to make a team. So I kind of went into it trying to find a role on there first. So I knew that was going to be an impact anywhere.
Stan, this is Miles Simmons from Panthers.com. How did you definitively find out that you made the roster, and what was your reaction to it?
It's a great feeling. Call my mom. She was happy, proud of me. It was a great feeling, man. It's a blessing to be on the NFL team. So to finally live out my dream and be on the 53 roster is a blessing. I'm just happy and ready to get to work.
Stan, I just mentioned you guys have been helping you out through camp and all that. Is there anyone in particular who you feel like you've kind of built like a mentor relationship with, or anyone who's really helped you out?
Definitely DJ. Kind of watch him go over his moves, try to see his process, try to see how he thinks, why he does the thing he does, how he makes plays. So I'm pretty much just following DJ everywhere he goes. Some people kind of think I look like him when they look at me kind of quick. So just trying to be under him, listening, observing.
I was wondering too, is there anything he told you from his rookie season that he learned? Is there anything in particular he shared?
The first thing, DJ is confidence. As long as you're confident, pretty much he just tells you go out there and play. If you don't have any confidence, you can't play this game. So that's the first thing he goes by. If you got confidence, you can do anything.
Stan, did you stay in the hotel during camp? And I know most, if not quite all, but many of the rookies did. And what's the plan for you personally going forward in terms of housing arrangements?
No, sir, I did not stay in the hotel. I had my apartment at Circle, not too far. So.
What did you think of kind of living through and training through the COVID protocols? Were you confident in them? And what's that whole experience been like? I know it's been, pretty unusual for everybody, but what about you personally?
It was different just because, like you said, the things that's going on in the world right now, you got to pretty much do things on your own, work extra a little harder, set aside time for things. But, it's still work, still everything going normal. So just going out here performing.
Stan, Jonathan Alexander, Charlotte Observer. I hope you're doing well, man.
Thank you.
What's the biggest thing you think you learned from training camp, whether that's about yourself, whether that's about anything about football?
Just go out here and play fast and play hard. As long as you play fast, play hard, play with great effort, and read the keys, everything gonna work out well. Just play football like you used to when you was a kid.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions for Stan? Stan, we appreciate you taking the time.
So thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, guys, that's going to do